Well, well, well. The dictatorship has landed again at Around the Blockchain. We got to talk about what on earth is happening at Twitter. We're going to talk about what on earth is happening with Bitcoin. And we're going to talk about what on earth is happening with why you are so bad at researching crypto projects. All that and more on today's episode of Around the Blockchain. Welcome, 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 degenerates. Welcome, crypto enthusiasts. Welcome, boomers, millennials, Gen Z, and even Gen Alpha, if you're young enough to be on the YouTubes. I am your host. I am Nick DeMundi. Some people call me the Nictator. Some people call me a crypto degenerate. But all the people on the panel today, I call friends and I call influencers. First up, we've got Paul. He's into rocks and he's not into stocks. Paul, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me again, Nick. I'm excited about some of these topics here. Hope we can give some insight to the audience.
Absolutely. And then next up, Solana Permabull Rice TVX cannot not hold that Solana. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing excellent, man. Looking forward to today's show, and I'm so thankful that I can speak fluent sarcasm as you do as well.
Next up, we've got a person who has created a thing that pushes blood into the heart of Cardano. His name is Big Pay, and he's got a thing called an atrium. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty darn good. Next up, we've got Evan Aldo. Is he the Andy Warhol or Bob Ross of chartistry? You be the judge. How are you, Evan?
Doing amazing. Loving this market. It's just so easy to keep stacking onto those shorts, risk-free, setting new stop losses with house money. So it's been awesome.
I love that. I love playing with house money. That's the best money to play with. First of all, if you're brand new to Around the Blockchain, here's what's going to happen. We've got people and we've got points. If you like what they're saying, you put a +1 in the chat. I give them some points. The person who has the most points at the end of the show gets a little 20-minute spiel, get to plug whatever they want to plug, and that's the show. So we're here to talk about crypto. We're here to talk about things that affect crypto. We're here to talk about things that affect your financial future. If you want to give us a follow, give us a subscribe, hit that like button. If you don't hit the like button, you're a Fed. So just period, end of discussion, hit the like button, prove your allegiance to crypto. Let's take a quick look at the markets. We've got Bitcoin sitting at $26,552, slowly sliding down like a slug. And you got my computer? It's dead. My computer's dead. That's totally fine. But you know what it's like. We're down over 10% on the weekly. Evan, give us some perspective. Are we going to zero? Was Richard Hartman right the whole time? Please tell us something good.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff to show you. Let me get up my chart right here. So
good.
As you can see right now, I'll give you kind of the short term, what I'm looking at in the real short term, before like a little bit more in the macro. So real short term, this could potentially be a nice little scalp long. We are coming into the weekend though, so I wouldn't enter too much on this. What I've been doing is just keep shorting every time we, get a little bit of a bounce off of these certain areas. I mean, I added to my short over here, took more profits down here at this line of support resistance, also called a spiral line. But now we're getting a bullish div on the 2-hour right here as price is coming down. If you guys aren't familiar, this is how you draw a bullish div on Market Cipher. You could be a little bit, people would say you got to draw it from, the bottom of the candlestick right there. You could be a little bit subjective with it. That is making technically a lower low. So it is a bullish div. This confirms in 54 minutes. I may enter a small long right here. But what I want to show you too on the macro is what we're looking at right now. That big place, that big candle, that hammer candle that we got, that was where we were hitting the 200 weekly moving average that I'm going to show you right here on the weekly chart, which is a huge point historically. If I go back a little bit, this is where we kind of bottomed out over here in 2018. Also wicked below it pretty quickly, came back up in the pandemic drop. So it's a big place until we got into this bear market where price was just like, nope, who cares about it anymore? But it's still a significant place. We're getting a jump off of it. Fun fact, if we repeat what happened kind of over here last June, if you remember, I remember, it came up a little bit and then we just rolled over and came back down. That's what could happen here and we could just come back down. Now on the macro, last thing I want to show you on the macro, split RSIs on the weekly here. This is pretty bearish, giving me vibes to what we saw in 2019 after, our rally. Our accumulation year was 2019, 2023 similar. Saw that rally and then what happened? you had a significant pullback. I'm not going to, draw it from the bottom of the pandemic. That was a black swan. Let's not count that. But if you do something of this nature, there's a strong likelihood you can make a lower low. Nation goes into recession, things get uglier, can make a lower low or a double bottom towards the end of the year. Also, really quickly, we are getting a blood diamond on the 2-day. I apologize for all these lines.
That's a lot of lines.
This was, yeah.
Do you need
Apologies for all
help? Is
the
this a
lines.
cry for help?
I forgot. I got a thing to turn them off real quick though. The blood diamond right here. Fun fact: this was the top of Dogecoin. You came right down. So you crashed right down. Pepe could be kind of like that as well. Also, you did have a blood diamond right here in 2019. Apologies again, too many lines. But yeah,
it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So look, there's a lot of great information right there. I mean, a lot of good perspective, but I want to go quickly to Paul. Like, Paul, you're a crypto OG. Like you've been around for a minute. I mean, you may even be Satoshi for all I know. But like when you see kind of movements like this, when you see, markets going down, a lot of our around the blockchain audience, they're like newbies. They came in on 2021. They came in last year. Like what is the perspective that someone who's a crypto OG like you can offer folks like even me who are kind of brand new to the scene?
So we've been talking about like, oh my God, the weekly has shown a 10% drawdown. To see a 10% drawdown over the course of a week shows already how far we've gone in the sense that when I first got involved in 2013, a 10% drawdown could happen on a daily basis. So volatility definitely has gone down, at least daily volatility. We just don't really see 10% movements very often, on a daily basis. So I think a week long drawdown is well within par for the course. And if you look at what kind of pumped us up and how quickly we pumped up from about that 15 to 20K all the way up to 30K, that happened relatively quickly. Obviously triggered a lot by the banking crisis that we saw, like 3 banks nearly back to back to back, creating that sudden urge for like, hey, where can I put my money that is safe from the banks? Created a lot of bull run for Bitcoin, but it was, it moved too quick in too short a period of time that it's fair for us to have a bit of a drawdown. I fundamentally, without doing TA, and I realize I'm not a technical analysis expert, but just this kind of sentiment that I have over where Bitcoin's been in the past and where it's going in the future is that we've seen the bottom. We're headed up from here with our regular volatility that we normally expect out of crypto. We're not as stable as many other classic assets. So it's nothing that I would be worried about. I don't think we're definitely hitting zero. That was your first question. Are we hitting zero? Absolutely not. No way in hell are we hitting zero. Are we going to hit new lows? That would be a big shock. And I think it would need a black swan event, much like what we saw in 2020 with the pandemic hitting, for us to drop below the all-time lows that we've seen already. But I can imagine us still hitting 25 before we, probably over the next month, we'll probably be bouncing between that 25 and 30K before we start to see new local highs above 30 and so. And if you look at the monthly charts, they seem to really kind of strengthen that position. And it's not unlike what we saw in 2019. We might hit some lows again, drop a bit, but other than that darn black swan event in 2020, we're generally headed up and going into the halving.
Gotcha. And just real quick for our audience, can you just give a quick definition of what a local bottom and a local top is for those of us who don't know?
I feel like the TA folks should be mentioning that. Maybe Evan
jump
should.
in here,
so
bro.
When I say local, it's not all-time high. So
it's
how do you define
it's
local
exactly
bottoms?
what it sounds like. It's exactly what it sounds like. Local top was like the local top at what was it, 31K last month, or we could also make the argument that the bottom we just hit, like if you see a fierce bottom, that's like a local bottom. It could be subjective to like what day. Some people would say local bottom meaning the bottom of like today, or local bottom meaning the bottom from like a month ago, depending. Like it's a little bit subjective, but yeah, it means like a top that isn't the all-time high. Usually a recent top, or a bottom that isn't the all-time, latest bottom, major bottom at like our 15K or whatever.
Major bottoms, fierce bottoms, all sound like things that are going to be happening in Miami. Paul, are you seeing more of a dislocation of Bitcoin from the traditional markets? Like it used to be a thing where, the Dixie kind of predicts where Bitcoin's going, or, the VIX predicts where Bitcoin going. Are you actually seeing that separation happening, or is it too early to really say Bitcoin's dislocated from the traditional markets?
I think we saw it briefly in the advent of like Silicon Valley Bank crashing. I noticed that, the Monday after that had happened, we completely separated from traditional markets. A lot of the stocks had sold off, especially the banking stocks, regional bank stocks, and Bitcoin and crypto overall was probably up like 5% that day. And so I think we do on occasion based on the news. So when there's news that specifically really hits the traditional markets, but has the narrative that Bitcoin and crypto really aims to solve, then yeah, we differentiate. But on the overall global macro trend, it doesn't seem like we've really separated just yet. However, fundamentally, I think what we have remaining for the rest of the year, as far as bad news incoming, is everything that generally Bitcoin and crypto aims to fix. So I think we've got positive trends going forward.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to go to Big Pay. There's been some interesting developments. Meme coins, some would say, are overheating the market, and there's meme coins showing up on Cardano now. Is that good for Cardano? Is the overheating of meme coins bad for crypto? What's your take on this kind of meme coin mania that's popped up out of nowhere on other chains that normally don't have meme coins?
The markets have been dead for a while. So seeing anything overheat and seeing people make money anywhere, to me, is a good sign. I haven't really seen any parts of the industry kind of trending and popping off and people making money. So it may be a good thing. It may show that the markets will do better, after meme coins. I've kind of seen in the past that meme coins kind of start things. And then after that, Bitcoin comes. And then after that, it's usually other altcoins. However, every time can be different. And a lot of times people end up losing a lot of their money on meme coins, and people leave crypto because of that. I've met a lot of people that have lost $10,000, $50,000, and they're just everyday people that have saved up that money for college or for a long time, and then they lose it all. So then it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. So I would say overall, meme coins are bad, and that's because education isn't there. People think that they're not really playing a slot machine when they are. So really, I'm kind of in the middle on it. It could be good for the market, but it's not really good for most people because they don't have that education that they're playing a slot machine.
Gotcha. Again, fantastic stuff from Pay all the time. Rice, what's it going to take for Bitcoin to get back over 30K? Are we looking at an October surprise with some more recession woes? Is this going to be another seesaw up until the halving? What are you thinking, man?
For us to really get truly over 30K, I think it's really going to be like post halving, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a TA guy, but I think it's going to be post halving. I think we're going to be seeing a real crab market for the rest of the year, kind of going between the 20 and 30K range. That's what I'm gathering from the different TA people I've been bringing on my channel. So, not a TA guy, but again, long term, I mean, I'm in this for the long term. And a lot of people are starting to see, like what Paul said with the banking failures, starting to see what Bitcoin was created for. Now, the thing that I definitely feel like we're going to be seeing a lot lower lows. I don't feel like the actual floor. I don't think the bottom is in. We're going to see the introduction of FedNow coming out in July, which is basically a state-sponsored PayPal. It's going to be competing with blockchain, obviously, and it may be the railroad tracks for incoming central bank digital currency, or possibly stable coins. So I really feel like there's going to be an event, something that's going to be taking place that's really going to be pushing people into the central bank digital currencies. So with that being said, I really feel like there are so many different things. I really wouldn't even call the things upon us that could happen black swans at this point. I would just call them gray swans because there's so many different things that we're anticipating that can happen. Just what will be the straw that breaks the camel's backs? If you start looking at all the derivatives these banks are holding, you look at the Federal Reserve report that came out recently about 722 banks being insolvent in Q3 of last year. And we've only seen like a handful of failures this year. And 3 of those failures have amounted up to be more than the entirety of the 2008 crash. So we got a lot more pain to go. And even though this is what Bitcoin was created for, the rest of the world hasn't come to terms to realize that yet. So it's going to take people realizing that is what Bitcoin was created for in order for Bitcoin to actually perform differently and to kind of get away from the market that it's kind of been correlated to. Because as you mentioned, and we talked, it is very much correlated to the DXY. We need to be paying attention to what's happening to the dollar because it's inversely affecting all commodities, and we need to be paying attention to what the Federal Reserve is doing. I feel like they're going to continue with their rate hikes. They're going to continue with the bank failures because this is by design. It's a controlled demolition, and it is what I call problem, reaction, solution, consolidation.
Interesting. Controlled demolition, just like Building 7. Let's move on to Twitter's new CEO real quick. There's a lot been going on, a lot going on in the Twitterverse right now. So There's a woman named Linda Yasserino, the new CEO of Twitter. She's a corporate. She's big corporate. I mean, there's no other way to put it. She works for NBC Universal. She's part of the World Economic Forum. There she is. She was actually got into an argument with Elon Musk like a couple weeks ago or a month ago, something like that. They were on a panel together. It's kind of weird, but she's going to oversee business operations, and Elon will become the executive chair and CTO. These are important things. We're going to come back to this later. She resigned from NBC Universal today after working there for nearly 12 years. NBC Universal is owned by Comcast, of which we are not owned by any of them. We are full independent media. Rock on. So she resigned today. She had generated more of $100 billion in ad sales. That's a key point per her company bio. The community. Oh, yeah. She follows Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. I don't even know why that's in here. But Elon Musk is very bullish on it. And he was basically kind of surprised and on his back foot with all of the criticisms that he was getting on this pick. So before we get into nitty gritty here, Paul, you are the CEO of a company and a good CEO at that. Can you give us some perspective on what a CEO actually does?
So there's nothing more I can say about the CEO role other than it is the most ambiguous position in a company.
It's like a producer in movies. What do you do?
You have no idea. So I mean, I like to say, like, especially in a small company. In a small company, you don't, everybody does a little bit of everything. The CEO just, I liken to say, especially in a small company, that as opposed to being structured like a pyramid, you're really structured like a funnel, and shit rolls downhill. And if no one else catches it, the CEO catches it. Right.
Oh,
That's really what you do. You're filling in where necessary, first and foremost. Now, yes, you do drive kind of the strategy, the vision of the company, but on day-to-day operations, you're just catching the shit that rolls downhill, right? You're the funnel, you're in the very bottom of the funnel. And listen carefully to the title, or at least what part of CEO Linda's going to play. Operations. She is going to be the person that just catches the shit that rolls down the funnel. Now, who is actually going to still be controlling and making the decisions? I have a high confidence that Elon is still going to be at the top. Now, it does shock me that he is shocked about all the flack he's getting, because he's put someone in control that's completely counter to what people are actually looking forward to Twitter for, right? Which is open, free speech, separation of Twitter from advertising revenue, influencing, the content being created. So honestly, I was kind of shocked that she got put into this role. I'm shocked that Elon is surprised. But at the same time, I don't think she's going to have as much control as people think she's going to have. Because once again, it just depends on what kind of a CEO you're going to be. Are you an operational one? Are you a strategic one? Are you a technical one? And the fact that Elon says that he'll still be in charge of product. And I think that's the key word, that he wants to still head up product engineering. A lot of that is, by and large, the definition of what Twitter is to the public. Like, what is the experience you're going to get out of the product? From the viewpoint of who's going to pay the bills, deal with the legal obligations, what happens when we get a lawsuit from staff, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Yeah, she's going to deal with those day-to-day things. But I don't think Twitter will be changing to the degree that people expect it to, as far as like censorship resistance and, advertisers. But it does surprise me that she got put into the role overall, but I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, I think the proof there is in the $100 billion in ad sales that she generated at NBC Universal. Like, she has pull with ad people, and Elon knows that is how they need to make money. So, I think he knows that he's on the right track when both the left and the right don't like the pick. So I think that's positive. The left doesn't like it because they kind of took one of theirs, and then the right doesn't like it because of the Klaus Schwab angle. Let's go to Rice real quick.
Definitely.
Yeah, Rice. So he talks about the X app. He's talked about this with Linda, the X app, the everything app. Can you give folks like just a quick 30-second overview of kind of where Twitter is going to be, that X app, and where you think Twitter is going to be this time next year? You're on mute.
I apologize about that. That's a good question. From what I understand about the X app is, like, as you said, it's an everything app. It's supposed to be incorporating everything. Now, what we've seen recently with Tucker Carlson coming into play with Twitter, him doing his show, I believe is what's going to be taking place on Twitter. I believe they're going to be adding a video platform, which means they'll probably be adding a podcast platform. We see the social media. We're talking about adding end-to-end encrypted messaging. There is talks about incorporating cryptocurrency as a tipping method. I definitely see Web3 apps being added. I hope that kind of answers that question. Now, this is just the whole thing to me is just I'm not really sure what to think about it. I agree with everything that Paul Puey has said so far because as a CEO, he definitely has a different perspective on this, and it definitely kind of gave me some enlightenment as well. And it kind of made me think too when I was looking at this, was this kind of a situation of, even though she has a proven track record, is it also one of these situations of keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer? Because
Mm,
I'm sure the World Economic Forum has their eyes on Elon Musk not being necessarily a team player. So by having somebody on the World Economic Forum involved in Twitter, it may look like they're allowing for some game to be played, and he's going to play game with everybody else. I'm not really sure, but I mean, he is not the free speech absolutist everybody's making him out to be, because there's still a lot of people that have been removed from the platform. One in particular, AJ, wasn't returned just because of something about a baby that made no sense. So to call yourself a free speech absolutist and still allow for censorship and people to not be on your platform is very hypocritical. So I'm not as on the Elon Musk train as most people are.
yeah. Yeah. I don't trust him. I think, free speech is kind of like a sliding scale, just like centralization. Like there's degrees to it. I think he's far more free speech than other people, but he's definitely not an absolutist by any stretch
But
of
he
the
called him, but
imagination.
he did call himself that. He quoted himself that in previous articles I can share with you.
Yeah. Yeah. The proof
So
is in the
he's
pudding.
very
We'll
much a
see.
hypocrite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who isn't? I am. But big pay. Um, this is all about decentralization. It's all about free speech. There's no stir that's like, I don't know, it's like a GitHub app for Bitcoiners. That's annoying. There's Sky Blue, there's Mastodon. Cardano is like one of the most decentralized projects out there besides Bitcoin. I think it's number 2 in my opinion, as far as like a Nakamoto score. But like there's this whole idea of decentralized social media. Is decentralized social media like, does it have a future? Can there really be even such a thing as decentralized social media, especially on such a decentralized chain as Cardano?
I think ultimately, no. When people use social media, what do they want from it? They want, funny posts, they want to connect with their friends. And I think as we enter the decentralized realm, you lose a lot of that, due to latency. And I think a lot of the average people, they don't care about censorship. They don't care about, decentralization at the core foundation of the technology. They just want to connect with their friends. They just want to see a funny meme. They want to see a funny post. So the only way that a protocol that is social media will be at the forefront of society is if the user experience and the user interface and the way people connect is revolutionized. And I don't really think that's going to happen. And the original question about does the Twitter CEO, is that going to help against Blue Sky and these other platforms? I think it will, because really what Twitter needs to do is it needs to make money. And I think having someone that's actually made $100 billion in ad revenue on previous companies is going to be good overall for Twitter. And what Elon needs to focus on is the product and not all of the shit that rolls downhill.
Yeah. Yeah, look, he is self-attested as not being a great communicator and a better engineer, and so him in the driver's seat of being a CEO is kind of self-defeating and doesn't play to his strengths, and he's openly admitted that. And I totally agree with you. I think there's an interesting, like, no one wants a fully uncensored social media. That's awful. Like, if you want an example of why it's awful, just go look at 4chan. Like, that's about as of a decentralized and as completely censorship-free social media, and it's hell. So there needs to be
Yeah,
some
and
type of
imagine
guardrails.
someone trying to make a YouTube that's decentralized. The
It'd be awful.
latency and the amount of data that needs to be stored there, it's impossible. And all I want to do is get on there and make a video or watch a video. And
Yeah,
on a 10 to 20-year timeline, it's not going to happen because the network effects of the companies that already exist will be so large by then that it's just never going to happen, in my opinion. And it's a pessimistic. Of course, I'd like everything to be decentralized, but it's just not going to happen.
gotcha. Gotcha. So, Evan, like when you're looking at these sorts of news events, like Doge is inextricably tied to Twitter. Are you going to be, are Twitter news releases, press releases going to be something that you're going to trade against? Is this a tradable event now? Is Twitter going to start moving the dial for meme coins? And do you see there being more opportunities for content creators like yourself? This is kind of a different question. You see more opportunities for content creators like yourself to reach a different audience now that Twitter is going hard on video?
To answer the first question, I think that in my humble opinion, based on what I'm seeing on the charts, it's going to be more of kind of a sell the news type of thing overall, just based on history. And what I'll show you here too is I've seen this time and time again where this is so that we have the head and shoulders on Bitcoin here. And you know that a lot of people probably have liquidation points around somewhere below 25K. There's a lot of people that talk about 25K holding that area. Seen it time and time again. You come down, you finally hit the technical targets, you liquidate a lot of people, then you recover a little bit. Also, the other thing too, like I was showing you before, unless this time is different, what we've seen with meme coins is, adoption a lot of time is sell the news type things. And if we go on my other charts, there's less lines, but we'll just to show you a few areas. Right here was the top of Doge. This was our local May top, basically. Crashed down. Right here was the top of Shiba. You crashed down, to infinity. I am not 100% sure, but from what I remember back in 2019, there were meme coins that did pretty well throughout this rally as well. And then you did come down. So I do think overall, it's going to be more of a sell the news type thing. Now, does that mean we have to come down to, this is fun fact, this would be where our 400 weekly moving average is. That would be a big point. That's a double bottom potential. This is your 500 weekly moving average. It's kind of the lowest I could potentially see it going, but never say never. That's, that's how you always end up looking stupid. But these areas are going to be major if we do end up getting down a lot into the end of the year. In that type of thing, unless this time is different, I do think it's going to be more of a sell the news type thing. What I also want to show you, what kind of follows meme coins to a certain extent, and what follows, the new innovations to a certain extent. The 2-week on total 3. Fun fact: this is the chart minus. This is all crypto minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, as you can see right here. First time ever, we're getting a blood diamond on Market Cipher B. And if you guys are familiar, or Market Cipher A, excuse me, if you guys are familiar with Market Cipher B, this is about as bearish as you can get. Great curvature coming down. Trigger wave. That's a red dot pointed zero, close to zero line. Just looks as bad as possible. And I mean, look at what this happened back in, 2019 right here. We got potential for this to come down a good amount. And you wouldn't even be, even if we came down at 200 billion here, you still wouldn't even be that close to the 2019 high. So unless something crazy happens, I mean, TA is not always right unless we get some major curveball here. What I do think is total 3 will come down. Also, what I think will probably happen, hitting some resistance for Bitcoin dominance right here. This has been on a rampage since November. Just keeps piling away, and Bitcoin just keeps outperforming all these things.
Looks like a meme
if
coin
we break
chart.
This, what's that?
Yeah, the dominance looks like a meme coin chart.
Yeah, it just keeps coming up. You got a technical target up here at 60. I don't know if we're going to get that high, but this area, mid 50s, this is what I'm looking for, guys, to get into NFTs, to get into a diversified portfolio of all coins, Cardano, Ethereum, all the good stuff. That's what I'm looking at. And the last thing I wanted to show you real quick here is my ETH chart on the 12-day. This is top secret information, guys. I should be charging, put a paywall in front of this, but look at this. See this red area? This is prime real estate for Ethereum back here to DCA in. But look at where we are right now. See where I circled? See the height of this momentum wave on Market Cipher B. History is repeating itself. Look at this. The red dot about to print here as money flows coming out. Look at that trajectory right here. Not going to count the pandemic, but man, potentially a lower low. Regulation, regulatory FUD, recession, maybe I'm labeled a security, all those type of things, potentially bringing us lower into the end of the year. Wouldn't be waiting on that. Wouldn't be betting all the farm on that. But I'm still waiting to DCA into ETH when we get into the red here, start to DCA into ETH. And also other top secret information, starting to convert some of my Bitcoin into Ethereum. I may put on my full Degenerate Hat if ETH really comes down to new lows, convert all my Bitcoin to Ethereum and potentially get a 10x the next
is your Degenerate Hat, is that like a tricorn or a bicorn?
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, you know what it means. Just Google it, and you should buy one, because I think you would look great in a tricorn. So let's talk about the building blocks of a successful crypto project. But first, call out to our sponsors for paying the bills. Look, I've got a crypto habit, and we need money to pay for it. Presend.io does help supply that high of crypto buying. Presend.io, check them out. Link in the description. Also, Incognito. It's an affiliate link down below. They're basically a privacy data broker. So every time you've sold your data to a data broker online, which is basically anytime you go to a website, if you sign up for Incognito, I've used them, they will reach out to those data brokers and they will negotiate deleting all of your data across all of them. I signed up for Incogni. There was like 350 data brokers that had my data. And so far, they've wiped more than half of it from the internet. It's a really great tool to increase your privacy online. Incogni, affiliate link below. Appreciate y'all. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let me check and see where the likes are at. Holy crap, we've got 183. My God, let's get that to 200. And also, follow me at Nick DeMoney on Twitter. You need to be my simp. I need him. You want it. I've got what you want. Also, follow all of our guests. These people are S-tier crypto academics, crypto thinkers, and you need to follow all of them. If you don't, you're going to be left in the dust. Finally, let's talk about what are the building blocks of a successful crypto project. So we're just going to go around the blockchain here, and this is kind of open-ended, and all of you are going to offer different perspectives. So like when you are looking into a project, either to build, either to buy, either to join, or like talk about and get behind, like what are the things that you are looking at that you think set it up for success? Not just in token price, it can be token price, not just in token price, but overall project success. I think we'll start, Evan. I know you just went, but we'll start with you. What are you looking at as far as a successful crypto project, one that has staying power?
Well, I mean, obviously, I could tell you the things that that most people would say: good fundamentals, good utility, something that's innovative, and something with a good team. All things potentially betting on the person, like a lot of people like to do. A lot of people bet on Elon Musk with Tesla a while ago. That worked very well. Worked very well as well. But what I want people to realize here, what's the most important thing I think in venture capitalism, and that's what separates all investing in all coins away from investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum. Bitcoin, Ethereum are more value investing. Most likely those are going to succeed in 5 to 10 years. They'll be higher than where they are now. But with altcoins, even if an altcoin is a really good project, even if an altcoin is better than another altcoin, we see this with businesses a lot. There's this thing called luck in venture capitalism. Some things that deserve to do well don't do as well. There are businesses with great fundamentals that go out of business all the time and just get unlucky. So how do you counter that? You buy 5 to 10 or maybe even more. You diversify in a bunch of altcoins with good fundamentals. And out of those, a few will do really well. A few may go to zero and a few may do nothing. That's kind of the main strategy with altcoins. So number one, look at that utility, look at the new innovative thing. I mean, there's a lot in AI, transparent. Obviously, I mean, it depends what level you're on, but obviously, probably stay away from the developers that keep developing these meme coins. It's kind of a planned rug pull. So
I think develop is that's even a strong term when you apply to meme coins. Develop is a strong term.
Okay, yeah, developer. Okay, con artists, yeah, Ponzi schemers, yeah, or whatever. I think I was hearing it's a lot of the same people that do a lot of these meme coins, and most of them don't do anything, but some of them, 1 out of 100, do something, and then So stay away from that. Look for good utility. You want to diversify. It's venture capitalism. Peter Lynch has a lot of good advice on this. If you look into him, you're buying 5 or 10 good ones, and out of those, maybe 2 or 3 will go to zero, but a few of them will do really, really well in the next bull run. So that's what you really got to look at. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Evan. Paul, you have actually built a crypto project, a very successful one, Edge Wallet, from the ground up. Like, what are you looking at? What are the takeaways on like making it as a crypto project, not even a token, just in this industry? It just seems incredibly just like an ocean full of sharks.
I think most people think of crypto projects as effectively cryptocurrencies and tokens. That's where I probably have the biggest opinion on, which unfortunately is a whole lot less of what you would normally think of as the fundamentals. I think like Bitcoin in its early days had solid fundamentals for when it launched. Same with Ethereum. It introduced something new that Bitcoin didn't have. And I think that's a key thing to look for is this project introducing something new, novel, and solving a problem? That's what you normally look for when looking for startups in general. However, in the cryptocurrency space now, there's a different set of requirements. And is there a big name that is well recognized in the industry? Is there a lot of money backing this project? And are they putting together an insane amount of marketing? Those are things that I care the least about, but I hate to say it. It's what actually gives a lot of projects a lot of staying power. Look at some of the biggest chains that have launched. They're either backed by major VCs, i.e. Solana, They had reputable names behind them. Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, founder of Ethereum. Polkadot, also founder of Ethereum, launching their own chain. And some of the things that I find have most utility are in things like privacy coins, which have not done that well, admittedly. They haven't done nearly as well as some of these other projects. And a lot of them also don't have the same amount of backing. Especially like a Monero doesn't have the marketing budget because it doesn't have a foundation behind it. Ironically, Zcash, which did have a strong backing, did well initially, and it has some level of utility, but still one that isn't valued by the ecosystem to the same degree. So if you're just in it for the money and that's all you're looking for, pump go up, then really you're looking for those things, like strong marketing budget that just gets the word out like crazy, maybe some VC backing, and a key name behind the project that is recognized either in the cryptocurrency space, in the cryptography space in general, like an old school cryptographer, or like a professor out of a major school, and it's got like a research department, and they're launching a coin. Think like an Avalanche. All of those seem to be the commonality in our industry right now, which, yeah, it is what it is. Doesn't make me like super happy about it, but I'm just trying to tell you the truth here. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but that's what it seems like.
Gotcha. Pay. So also a project maker. You're a mover and a shaker. You're a shot taker in Cardano. What are the building blocks for a quality project, especially on one that is as unique as Cardano?
I would say first you need to recognize, a problem or a value that you need to provide. Then you also need to figure out how you can speak that to people and speak that to the industry that you're in. Because that's really the hardest part, in my opinion. If you develop an awesome technology and you can't speak that to people and you can't get them to buy into it, not even financially, but emotionally, if they don't see the value that they're providing, then they're never going to be into it. Third is people. You have to find the right people that can actually build the protocol or write the smart contracts. Or if you can't speak that idea to people, you have to find people that will speak that idea. So really three main pillars: identify a problem or value that needs to be provided, find the people that can actually solve some of those problems to build that company. And then the third one is, speaking that problem to an audience that, can take that in. So
Gotcha. That's fantastic. Rice, when you're looking at something, are you looking at like straight up raw tokenomics and consensus, or is it something bigger?
It's generally something bigger. I mean, I'm looking for something that's going to be kind of like changing the world as far as creative destruction, being able to bring something to the game that's going to get rid of something that's controlling the masses. For me personally, I like things like coming from a cypherpunk mentality, the Nakamoto values, fair launch. But I would agree with pretty much what everybody else has said. Real world use case, utility, innovative ideas, having a good community is obviously really important. I think projects that are fair launching should have foundations, or even foundations should be put in place so that you can do proper marketing. Something else would be, how are the projects going to be remaining relevant with amongst competition? And because once you do something successful, people are going to be copying that. And how is that project going to be sustainable for the long term as well, and not just kind of a short term deal? The other most important thing that I would add is, how is the project going to help the crypto industry, and how is it going to help adoption? And I would use a project like Chainlink as an example, as a cryptocurrency project that is helping the industry. If you look at Chainlink, look at the amount of partners, look at who they're working with, and they're pretty much working with the majority of the cryptocurrency space because of the service that they're offering. So things like that, I think, are really important to me.
That's fantastic. Well, look, guys, you got it. You got the straight dope here on Around the Blockchain. That's all for the show today. Paul Puey pulled it out with all of that high level C-suite window office knowledge. I love it. You love it. Paul, congratulations. Send us off with some kind words.
Guys, everything's going to be okay. We're in a fucking, I know it seems terrible. All hell's breaking loose. The world's crumbling down. But, crypto's here to save us. It's something that we can clasp on. It is the arc that we'll ride on. And so, don't fret. Get yourself some crypto. Get some Bitcoin. We'll all be good. use Edge to do so as well. You know, that's a big thank you. If you're able to do that, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, realize that we're one of the few people, and we're in the few industries that is hardened against a lot of the crumbling that we're seeing around us. So we'll all be all right.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on your Friday night. Really appreciate it. Go ahead, hit that like button. Remember, we are all just spiritual beings having a human experience. Be kind to one another. Go out this weekend, touch some grass, call a friend, hear their voice, speak to them. DCA all the way. I will see you at the top.